2021 at 9:05 a.m. in the Grand Courtroom via online Zoom with 3 members present. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There is.
Oh, that's YouTube, that's why.
Okay. This is a notice to the public. The Board of Supervisors welcomes comment from the public during time allowed for discussion. You are requested to approach the microphone, state your name for the record, and limit the time used to present your remarks in order that others may be given the opportunity to speak. The normal process on any agenda item is for the chairperson to read the item from the agenda. The board is given an opportunity to comment on the issue and/or place a motion on the floor. An opportunity for discussion may be presented, at which time the public may participate, and a roll call vote will follow. I'll entertain motions on approval or amendment of the agenda, please.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
And Mr. Chairman, I would second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as printed. Any discussion? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Slosik,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Item 2 on our agenda this morning is years of service recognition. We don't normally have this many, nor such a distinguished group with so many years, ranging anywhere from 25 years down to 5 years. With us this morning, we have Daryl Fricke from our Secondary Road Department for 25 years. Daryl has been a truck driver for 25 years and operated safely and kept our secondary road system in good shape. Welcome. This is a first, Daryl. We've never had one of the folks from secondary roads go up for this, and now we have 2 this morning. Welcome, and thank you very much. You're welcome.
We need a better picture.
Okay. Let's try and look.
Oh, there's Ben.
Thank you.
All right, congratulations.
Yes, thanks for coming.
That's 25 years is a big deal. Our second individual this morning is attending during Zoom. It's Ben Varen with our Sheriff's Office, has 15 years of service. Ben is highly respected out in the field and has worked with many schools, worked on the governor's task force for several things. Also comes from a family of law enforcement officers. He has a spouse that also is in law enforcement. Ben is joining us this morning by Zoom. Ben, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Another
Ben.
Do you have any sage words on your 15 years?
It's gone very quickly. I'm not sure where time goes, but it's been a pleasure working here and enjoy working for Marshall County.
Well, we've enjoyed having you also. It's you're one of those special officers that whenever we've had an opportunity to cross paths, it's always been a pleasure and truly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Third on our list this morning is a gal that also has 15 years that has been with our auditor recorder's office. We get an opportunity to work with her consistently. She's always part of our process, especially when it comes to valuations and budget questions, always been very helpful. Whitney Hunt.
See you now. All right, 1, 2, 3.
All right. And our next individual is Jared Heil, our treasurer, who has been with us for 10 years. Jared first got elected 10 years ago, and another individual we get to work with literally on a daily basis. Have enjoyed the time we've spent together. Jared, come on up. You're next.
Thanks, Dave.
You betcha.
Thank you.
You know, we got elected the same day.
I know. And next on our agenda this morning is a gal that has spent 10 years also with Marshall County. Started out in the recorder's office and currently is operating out of the engineer's department. Lisa Reeder.
Okay, got it. Thank you. I took 2 or 3 in case somebody blinked.
I actually started part-time in May of 2009, but they didn't really count that in years of service, so it's been like 12 years. that I've been
What's your part-time where?
In the
Part-time
recorder.
recorder.
Recorder, okay.
Okay.
Oh,
And
you've
then
been
in
over to-
January,
About 6 years over?
yeah, these 6 years in April.
Okay.
But yeah, January
That's hard.
2011, I was hired full-time when the auditor recorder's office combined.
Okay.
So then that's, I think, where they started the years of service.
I should have said no.
So,
Well, you guys all have all kinds of stories. We have one more this morning. And has she joined us by Zoom?
She's on, I think, Caitlin.
Katie is on?
Caitlin's
Okay.
on.
We have Caitlin Randall, Sheriff's Office, 5 years. Caitlin, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, there we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any sage words of wisdom this morning for your 5 years?
Time sure has flown, that's for sure. And I enjoy my job a lot as well.
Thank you for all you do. If you think time flies now, give it another 30 years.
I know, I'm only 5 years. That's like nothing.
Okay, thank you, everybody. That's quite the group we've had this morning.
Oh, we have
There's
one
more.
more.
Yeah.
We
No,
have
we
one
don't.
more. Yeah, we do.
You get to take a picture with yourself.
We have a Dave Thompson.
Yep.
He's been with the Board of Supervisors for 10 years.
You know, I specifically skipped that,
Well,
We didn't.
we
and you guys went right in there.
did. We did. And you're gonna have to sign your own.
Well, thank you. Suitable for framing.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Need a picture. Thank you. Well, then I want my 2-part
There
counterparts
you
up there
go.
with me.
It's the
Because
only one
we're,
we're sending
Go
you the
down by
paper.
the window. Three of you.
okay.
Works for us.
Yeah. This is yours. Yeah, I can hold a certificate.
Yes.
I know.
You know, I was never good with birthdays either. I have a tendency to.
You want to get on the other side, Steve? What do you?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, put Dave in there.
Put the thorn in the middle.
Are we close enough?
I think we're gonna change the balances up.
I got 2 or 3.
Haven't gone too far into this.
Between the two.
Target repaying.
Remember the term
And we're
paybacks,
trying
gentlemen.
to do the treatments, we just haven't
Thank
quite
you.
decided what they're gonna be.
Okay.
Lisa?
Sorry.
We're going to eliminate that. Okay. Moving on in our agenda this morning, we have resolution number 2021-0008. This is a notice that must be given pursuant to Iowa Code, Chapter 21, and the local rules of the county. The Board of Supervisors of Marshall County, State of Iowa, met in open session, Marshall County Courthouse, 1 East Main Street, Marshalltown, Iowa, on the above date, which is January 19th, 2021. There were present Chairperson Thompson in the chair and the following named board members: Bill Patton, Vice Chair; Steve Solosic, member. And we need to have a roll call vote on this. Due to COVID, this meeting was conducted in person and electronically pursuant to Iowa Code Section 21.8. Participation was available via the internet or telephonically as follows. And that's listed in our agenda. That also went out with our meeting notice.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Roll call.
Roll call vote. We don't need any
Motion.
motions for that. So roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Solosic,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Okay. The chairperson announced that this was the time and place for the public hearing and the meeting on the matter of authorization of a loan agreement and the issuance of not to exceed $5,250,000 general obligation capital loan notes in order to provide funds to pay for the costs of A, peace officer communication equipment and other emergency services communication equipment and systems, and B, the remediation, restoration, repair, cleanup, replacement, and improvement of property, buildings, and equipment and public facilities that have been damaged by a disaster as defined in Iowa Code Section 29C-2, which are located in an area that the President of the United States declared a major disaster on September 12th, 2018, following severe storms and tornadoes that occurred on July 19th, 2018, for essential county purposes, and that notice of the proposed action by the board to institute proceedings for the authorization of the loan agreement and issuance of notes has been published as provided by sections 331.402 and 331.443 of the Code of Iowa. The chairperson then asked the auditor whether any written objections had been filed by any resident or property owner of the county to the issuance of the notes. The auditor advised the chairperson and the board that
Zero.
0 written objections have been filed. The chairperson then called for oral objections to the issuance of the notes. Anybody on Zoom or in the room that would like to make oral objections? Because I know the Zoom is running a little bit behind, so let's give that a second or two.
That's actually the live stream for YouTube, but these guys are live in real time.
So they're hearing us just
Okay.
lickety split, just as, okay. We have 0 objections were made. Whereupon the chairperson declared the time for receiving oral and written objections to be closed. Whereupon the chairperson declared the hearing and authorization of entering into a loan agreement and the issuance of the notes to be closed. The board then considered the proposed action and the extent of objections hereto, whereupon board member introduced and delivered to the auditor the resolution herein set out entitled Resolution Instituting Proceedings to Take Additional Actions for the Issuance of Not to Exceed $5,250,000 General Obligation Capital Loan Notes. One of you two needs to move that.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that the resolution be adopted.
I'll second.
You know, I don't understand why we do have it there.
Yeah, it's just a little bit different format.
Yeah, so Bill is up at the top and
Yeah.
Steve's down below.
And that is for the resolution to be adopted, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for the resolution to be adopted. Any further discussion? Okay, there being none, roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Solosic.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Motion carries. Whereupon the chairperson declared the measure duly adopted. This resolution instituting proceedings to take action, additional action for the issuance of not to exceed $5,250,000 and general obligation capital loan notes. We have read that entire thing before. Do you think it's necessary to read that word for word again? I don't.
No, we've kind of read it up above.
Okay. This was passed and approved this 19th day of January, 2021. I would say. we
Lawyers have lots of stuff.
I love lawyers. That's sarcasm, by the way. I want to make sure we've dotted every I and crossed every T on this because we can't.
I think we're
I think we're
fine.
good.
Everybody
Okay.
can read it, you know.
All right, we're good. That being done, we're on to the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes from regular session of January 5th, 2021. Accept annual manure management plan update, Marshall Ridge Farms LLC, ID number 60101, owner Kevin Blood, which is an annual update report and received and placed on file with the following changes to the manure management plan. Acres added and a change in crop rotation or optimal yields as used manure analysis. Accept annual manure management plan update for Flint Finisher Farms, ID number 71020, owner Hennon Farms LLC, annual update received and placed on file with the following changes made to the manure management plan. Change in crop rotation or optimal yields and use of manure analysis. Item 7, accept annual manure management plan. Pickard Brothers, Inc., ID number 57598, owner Pickard Brothers Incorporated, manure management plan updated and received and placed on file with the following changes to the manure management plan. Acres have been added. Accept annual manure management plan for Edler Brothers, section 36, ID 58297, owner Edler Brothers, manure management plan update received and placed on file with no changes to the manure management plan. Approved transfer of funds, transfer number 914, a quarterly transfer of $670,000 from rural services to secondary road fund. Transfer number 915, a corrective transfer of $197,092 from Marshall County Communication Commission Fund to the E911 Fund for a 12-8-2020 claim that was paid from the wrong fund. Item 10, file clerk of district court report 12/2020, general supplemental fund surcharge $338.91. Item 11, accept quarterly recorder's annual quarterly report December 2020, records management fund $1,683, e-commerce fund $1,683, and general basic fund $62,783.11. Approve the claims as audited and authorize county recorder and to issue payment of the same. The listings of claims paid at this meeting and all claims that paid in the month of January will be published as part of the first meeting in February. I'll entertain motions on the consent agenda, please.
I'd make a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed.
Mr. Chairman, I'd second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this consent agenda as printed. Any further discussion? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Solosik,
Yes.
Thompson.
Item 13 on our agenda this morning. Shouldn't be happening yet because we had a promise that we would both go out the door at the same time. Somebody has not quite kept according to the plan. But that being said, had to have my little dig in there. Approved personnel action this morning is to hire Sherry Kokenauer, Board of Supervisors, Office Administrative Assistant, part-time, rate of pay $20 an hour, effective January 19th, 2021. Entertain motions, please.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to hire Sherry Kokenauer, Board of Supervisors, Office Administrative Assistant, part-time, rate of pay $20 per hour, effective January 19, 2021.
And I would second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the personnel action. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Solosik,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Sherry, welcome aboard.
That deserves an applause.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. I look forward to working with you all.
Welcome to our team.
Thank you.
I think you'll find it is a team. Everybody works very well together on the elected officials and members of the county, and welcome aboard. We hope you enjoy it and found as much enjoyment in it as Lisa has had these last number of years.
When we get back in the courthouse, Steve can start continuing what he did originally, and that's he'd bring donuts. You see.
It was Wednesday.
Every Wednesday, yeah.
You have been a little lax in your.
I have been a
donut
little.
rate. Just a little. Okay, we have one more personnel action this morning. B, hire Zach Varen, Secondary Road Department, temporary part-time, rate of pay $22.10 an hour, effective January 19th, 2021. Paul, you have anything you want to bring up on this?
We'll bring it back on to help our temporary part-time fleet for snow removal, because I hired everybody that was part-time, so we didn't have any left.
Okay. Is he going to be able to do maintainer or just truck driver?
It's truck, but I will just see how it goes and wants to train up. I don't think he has prior experience on motor grader.
Okay. I'll entertain motions on this action, please.
I'd make a motion to hire Zach Duran, Secondary Road Department, temporary part-time, rate of pay at $22.10 an hour, effective January 19th of 2021.
Mr. Chairman, I'd second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the personnel action. Any further discussion? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Item number 14 on our agenda this morning is resolution number 2021-009, County Compensation Board resolution. Whereas the Marshall County Compensation Board meets annually to recommend a compensation schedule for elected officials for the fiscal year immediately following, in accordance with Iowa Code Chapter 331-905 and 331-907. And whereas Marshall County Compensation Board has met on January 7th, 2021, and made the following salary recommendations to the following elected officials for the fiscal year. Auditor Recorder, 5% increase. County Attorney, 5% increase. Sheriff, 5% increase. Board of Supervisors, 5% increase. And Treasurer, 5% increase. We do have several options that we can do this morning. We can accept this in its entirety, the way it sits. We may reduce them all by the same amount, percentage-wise, or the Board of Supervisors can take 0 and adjust the others by a like percent. So we've got several different things this morning, and we'll start out by listening to you two and your discussions and go from there.
Prior to me being a supervisor, I was on the board of the compensation board, and you do go through a lot of wrenching discussions and then looking at various figures of other counties and other jobs and civilian life to try to come up with this. And it's a difficult situation. I do appreciate what the Board of Compensation does. Then the supervisors then have to bring in, however, we are coming along budget-wise, and we've got some difficulties in a couple departments, and it's because of the COVID problems, but it was not curtailed and worked on, and now it's raised its head here and causing us some problems. Our staff is getting a 2.25. I look at this and I would, guys, I'd like to suggest that we use a 3% overall instead of a 5%. Steve, I don't, where you're at there, would you comment here a little bit?
My thought originally was to drop it to 4%, but after, the consideration that we need to make toward the budget issues that we have right now, I could sure support the 3%.
Yeah, we're looking at over $1 million, unfortunately, that we've got to find money for. And that's just going to stick with us for a while.
And I would support putting the supervisors at 2.25, but I think I understand that can't be done. We can't separate ourselves out.
You
Okay.
can,
Can
We
we?
don't have to take us to zero.
no. Mm-mm.
Okay.
If you go along with the 3%, I'd go along with the 2.25 for the supervisors.
Yes, you bet.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I take it you guys are putting that in that form for the county attorney, the sheriff, and the treasurer for the recommended percentage to be reduced from 5 to 3%. And from the Board of Supervisors, recommended percentage to be reduced from 5 to 2.25%. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So that would be
Everyone three.
to adopt an amended resolution,
Yep.
basically.
Okay.
And that's a motion by Steve and second by Bill.
Seconded by Bill.
Yes.
We are facing a tremendous budget shortfall because of huge reductions in revenue at the county jail. We're basically looking at $1.3 million reduction in revenue that is not coming in, with very little ability to make the corresponding reductions in expenditures within the sheriff's budget. So that is going to be extremely challenging. Also, with our rank and file that are non-unionized employees, getting 2.25%, my personal thought, I would like to say stay across the board at 2.25%. But we have a motion and a second on the floor for the rest of it. That's just my thoughts on this. Any further discussion?
No, I'm okay.
No, sir.
Okay. Do we want to go over the percentage, or do you want to put the dollar amounts in also on the chart?
If you give me just a second.
Okay.
Okay. Auditor recorder salary will be 76,871.48,
County attorney,
113,073.36,
sheriff,
95,794.80,
board of supervisors,
39,353.41,
and treasurer.
66,177.96. And that is 3% for auditor recorder, 3% for attorney, 3% for sheriff, 2.25 for board of supervisors, and 3% for treasurer.
Okay, now the motion was made by Bill, seconded by.
No, Steve.
Okay. Seconded by Bill
To
to
adopt
adopt.
resolution 2021-09, option 2.
Okay. Okay. Go over that one more time before we vote. Auditor recorder, 3% with a salary of $76,871.48. County attorney, 3% with a salary of $113,073.36. Sheriff, 3% with a salary of $95,794.80. Board of Supervisors, 2.25% with a salary of $39,353.41. Treasurer, 3% with a salary of $66,177.96. Everybody agree on the figures and the percentages?
Yes.
Okay, any further discussion? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Slosik,
Yes.
Thompson.
No. Okay. On to item 15 on our agenda this morning is the contract between Raycom Corporation and Marshall County, Iowa. Discussion and possible action to approve the contract between Raycom Corporation and Marshall County, Iowa for the Marshall County Radio Project. I'll entertain motions on this.
Bill, I'll make a motion to approve the contract, accept the contract between Raycom Corporation and Marshall County, Iowa for the Marshall County Radio Project and authorize the chairman to sign the contract.
I think this one we have to approve.
Yeah, it's approve on this one.
Okay,
And Mr. Chairman, I'd second that.
we have a motion and a second on the table to approve the contract between Raycom Corporation and Marshall County, Iowa for the Marshall County Radio Project and authorizing the chairman to sign. Further discussion?
I have the contract with me here today. I picked it up Friday from Raycom. I have tried to read as much of it as I can. It's a 55
It's rather lengthy.
page. I just found one situation that I was very concerned about, and we've got that rectified here this morning. It was just a misunderstanding on my part.
Just some clarification on that.
Yes.
We do need to kind of name a project lead on the county side for Raycom to work with, and that person would need to secure the land that the towers need to go on.
So we're just doing a contact person that secures the land?
Yeah, and it's kind of the contact for Raycom versus communicating with all three supervisors.
Yes.
I would recommend either you or Bill on that. Choice is totally up to you two
Doesn't matter to
gentlemen.
me, so
Doesn't matter either. Want to flip a coin?
that'd be fine too.
Steve, if you'd want to do it, that's
I'll
fine.
do it.
Okay, then I won't have to reach into my pocket and flip a coin.
And I don't.
Because I got a double header.
Yeah,
on, you
that's what
know.
I was afraid I was gonna hear, so, okay, I'll be the one to take care of that. Now, has our attorney has looked this over?
Yeah, as
far as we
Christine looked
know.
over this quite a while ago,
Okay.
and that's where the conversation about the conflict of interest came in, that we got additional clarification on. And so that's all taken care of. So that's when that came up, was when this contract was reviewed by
Yes.
Ehlers and Cooney.
All right.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. There being no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Slosik,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Item 17 on our agenda this morning is resolution number 2021-001. This is a resolution 2020 homestead and family farm credits and military service tax exemptions. Pursuant to Iowa Code 425.3 and 425A.3 and 426A.14, the Marshall County Board of Supervisors has received homestead. Yep, I'll come back to that. Homestead tax credits, claims for the military service, tax exemption claims from the county auditor for the 2020 taxes payable 2021-2022. Be it resolved that all claims are filed and allowed except those recommended for disallowance by the county assessor, a list of which is on file in the county auditor's office. Be it further resolved that the chairman of the board is hereby authorized to sign notices of disallowance to claimants whose application for homestead tax credits, family farm credits, and military service exemptions have been disallowed. Dated at this Marshalltown, Iowa, date of January 19th, 2021. I'll entertain motion and second to adopt resolution 2021-0010.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to adopt resolution 2021-0010, homestead and family farm credits and military service tax exemptions, and authorize the chairman to sign letters of disallowance.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2021-001. Any further discussion? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Slosik,
Yes.
Thompson.
Motion carries. Backing up, because I skipped item number 16 this morning, is a financing security vendor. Discussion and possible action to approve financing security vendor for Marshall County, Iowa to use for the Marshall County radio project and construction expenses. The way I understand this, Jarrett, is if we go with the bank loan / notes, we do not need this.
You would have to, you'd have to secure the bank and to lock in that rate.
Okay, but we do it with the bank.
Correct.
And if we choose to go with a note
With the registered security.
with the registered security, we would have to name that individual.
Well, whenever you decide, yes, you would have to declare that.
Okay, so we're either going to declare here that we are going to go with a bank or with the securities firm.
Correct. Or wait, you don't necessarily have to make that decision today.
Yeah, it wouldn't have
If
to
you're
be
not
made
comfortable
today.
Making
Okay.
that decision today, you don't have to. Just if you would have to declare the bank or registered security.
Just from my part of this, 1/3, we have talked about using the bank from the very beginning for a number of reasons. One reason, they're local, it's local money. And anytime you can create a dollar on Main Street, that goes down Main Street and it creates itself. When I was in college, they said 7 times. Now, I don't know what it does now, but, and the interest rate on the bank is higher to begin with. But when we look at, when you borrow money from the bank, you only pay interest on it when you use it. So if we start out with $100,000 using, we pay interest on that. We don't pay interest on the rest of it until we start pulling it out. I think we can more than make up the difference in the cost of the interest, because if we, the other registered security people are less. But we've talked about this many times, and I don't want to get away from this subject. I think this is important, and I certainly want to say, from my part, I want to use a Marshall County bank.
For point of reference here, this isn't a line of credit rate from the banks. This is a matching, the banks matching what the municipal market is with the same terms. And so a line of credit is going to be a different rate based on those terms.
How much more would that be?
It's tough in the ballpark. Each bank wants to draw different terms with you within that. Roughly 2% is what I'm hearing. Also, it can be variable until you're taking the money out.
2% more than the numbers?
2% total.
Okay, I want to hear that from the banker.
You want to hear what the line of credit is?
Yes.
Okay, what I provide is that you would have the rates comparable with the municipal market, so you know what the maximum rate you can get in that comparison. And so if you're wanting to know, lock in a line of credit, most banks, what they want to do is they want to give you a variable rate until you actually start drawing, so we don't know what that rate is. We can see if we can get a locked-in rate from the banks as well, if that's the direction you'd like to go.
I thought it was implied to us by some of the bankers that they would do that. So
I would like to see us lock it in, the rate,
Yes,
and also to not have a prepayment penalty. That would be important to us.
since we don't have to have this particular motion moved on at this point, let us visit with the bankers and do that.
Because
Be sure that what we think we got, we're gonna be able to get.
we've got some good opportunities is to take the local bid and to wait until the time's closer to when the funds are needed. So this isn't a decision we have to make this morning, but I agree with both of you. I would like to pursue the local banking option. I would like to lock in the rate for the duration and with no prepayment penalty. Or at least not a prepayment penalty that would be out 4 years.
No, I think, I was under the impression we could do that.
Okay.
I'd like to see,
Well, let's get back to the drawing board and get that worked out then.
I think the first money that we're going to need is with Raycom. When we sign the contract, I think we need
450,
450,000.
so that's fine.
Yeah.
And we've got,
And in 30 days, we need another 450. Cash flow wise, we're okay because of the insurance money we've got in that hasn't been spent. Now, we can't go a whole lot.
More than that.
Right. I'm comfortable going out a month, but
okay,
I don't want to go any further than that.
So it's 900 total.
Yeah, 450 on signing and 450 in 30 days.
And then there may be a bit of a lag then.
Nan? This is,
Yes.
it's, the second payment isn't going to be due for probably around 90 days because it's on your acceptance of a final system design, which will require us to have that land secured. So it's typically 3 to 4 months before the second payment will come due.
Okay, great.
That
That
makes
gives
a
us a
huge
lot more
difference.
time.
And then Diana, when is the third payment due then? What is?
Then the third payment is due at hardware shipment. And so that would possibly be at the end of this calendar year. It may be early next year. So there, this first segment where we secure the land is where the flux is at. And so depending on how fast we can get that all done will determine how quickly the rest will move. But I estimated it to be around November. But like I said, if that land acquisition takes a little longer, we've had some that move fairly quickly and other ones that piece takes a little longer. If it does, that third payment could go into 2022.
We're used to everything taking a little longer here, so.
in any event, we're into 2 budget years.
Well, I was just
You
telling
So
Brad, you guys beat Story County by 10 years, so congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
and just to refresh my memory, it takes an acre of ground.
Yeah, it's about an acre, and I will have the engineering staff, we'll send you over an email with exactly what it'll take, because the kind of tower we use will take less land, but I'll get that over to you here today yet.
Yeah, very good, thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, we won't have all the cables. It's a self-standing tower.
okay,
So it
no-
shouldn't take us much land.
much less.
It shouldn't take an acre, but if we look back in our rules that the county has, it says we have to have an acre. And so, that's not a big deal.
Okay. We were on item 16, so we are not going to take any action on item number 16 at this time. Do we need to table that until a future date or just keep it because it was for a discussion and possible action this morning? So we really don't need to table it.
No,
We just don't take any action. Okay. All right. Jarrett, you understand what our thought processes are and what we're looking for?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll get those.
Thanks for your work on this. so
Thank you.
far.
Appreciate it. We're getting closer every day. It's going to be nice to get this off our plate also. Let's move on to item number 18 this morning. This is a secondary road department equipment purchase. Discussion and possible action to approve the purchase of a 2021 Ram 2500 truck. Paul?
Yeah, I was searching for a 3/4 ton pickup for maintenance superintendent. And we tried to find the 2020 in somebody's inventory with the production limits because of the pandemic and stuff. It's just not impossible to find anything in inventory that would work for us. So we decided to go ahead and just take quotes on ordering. And I was working with Greg Young, Automotive down in Newton, and Dave Wright here in Marshalltown. And I got quotes that are either one will work. The only problem I'm having is that the quote from Dave Wright has an equipment package that they say they can't take out of the build. And my other dealer can take it out of the build, so I know it's possible. But the build, to me, it looks like the build is the sport appearance group, and I don't want our maintenance superintendent's truck to have the sport appearance group. Because it's like body color bumpers and some decals and stuff that will, you know, just it's $1,200 that adds nothing to the truck. So that really is the difference in bids. Greg Young is $1,200 lower because this $1,200 package that Dave Wright said they can't take out of the building. So I'm recommending you go with Greg Young because mostly because I don't want that package on the truck. I know if it's, you know, something like $1,000, we would consider buying the local truck. But this truck isn't equipped the way we're specifying.
So if they remove the package,
And
which
I
they
made
say
that-
they can't, we'd be at the same dollar amount.
It'd be, yeah, I think they'd be low, but the problem is I've asked them twice. I said, okay, so I'm understanding that you are not gonna call Ram and get that off of there, off the building, and get it built right. And I got no response, and I called them up to voicemail and sent an email to their sales manager, who, I mean, they're working with me good. It's competitive bill. It's just they won't take that package out of it, so.
Well, you've done your due diligence.
The price that I've got from Greg Young is $38,485, which is, oh heck, over 15,000 below MSRP. So they're both giving us a pretty steep discount.
Who is Newton Paul?
Greg Young Automotive Group in Newton. And the price would be $38,485, and there's usually a doc fee on it or something, you know, document fee that, so maybe a couple $100 off.
I'll entertain motions on this item. Whatever way you gentlemen want to go.
I would follow what our engineer has tried to get and would move that we purchase a 2021 Ram 2500 truck, and this truck be purchased from Greg Young in Newton for the amount of $38,435 to be paid from the FY 2021 equipment budget.
And I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor to purchase a 2021 Ram truck, 2500. This truck will be purchased from Greg Young in Newton, Iowa, in the amount of $38,485 to be paid from the fiscal year 2021 equipment budget. Any further discussion?
My reasoning on getting it this early is to try to get it in that 21 budget because we're being told that we're 12 weeks out from getting them, and they're having some difficulties, you know, getting things transported, but they said figure on 12 weeks.
Okay. Further discussion?
Nope.
No, sir.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Slosik.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Item number 19 on our agenda this morning is temporary right of entry agreement for the J15 Bridge Replacement Project. Discussion and possible action to approve right of entry with Dustin and Sarah Bauer. This agreement is for temporary right-of-way on approximately 0.17 acres needed for the replacement of Bridge J15 on 260th Street. Entertain motions, please.
Question first. The design of the bridge, the state only steps in and helps design that, do they?
This bridge was designed by Calvin Burns, our consultant. And mostly because this bridge project is in our competitive highway bridge program grant, and we're at the state, we've got a bunch of counties and cities working together, and they're gonna, basically, they're gonna group projects into lettings, and we're gonna do this project with a project that's going on in Grundy County. But the timing was just such that we needed to get it plans done, get it designed quickly, just to make the letting and get the grant done.
Okay.
But this is one of our remaining trusses that this project takes out of the trust. That is it's a fracture critical inspection. It's a more expensive inspection, so it's another good one to get on the list.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to hit when you're digging equipment through there.
It's close enough to Highway 14 that even in accident situations, potential for semis to get rerouted, and they can't take a loaded semi across this bridge.
Well, the height, the
And
floor,
it's posted for weight limit too.
yeah, the deck would be about the same height.
It'll be a little bit higher. There'll be some grading, that happens with the, getting it back down to the grade north and south of the bridge.
Yeah, I was just curious. That's the only reason I was asking.
Yeah.
So,
That's why some of the right of way that we need to buy too, because the grade goes up and then the four slopes.
Okay.
I would make a motion to approve this agreement for temporary right-of-way construction and damages on approximately 0.17 acres needed for the replacement of Bridge J15 on 260th Street in the amount of $200. This agreement is for project BROSSHBP-C064, subsection 134, NC-64.
Mr. Chairman, I'd second that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve this agreement for temporary right-of-way construction. Any further discussion or comments? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Slosik,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Item 20 on our agenda is Secondary Road Department Temporary Right of Entry Agreement for J15 Bridge Replacement Project. Discussion and possible action to approve right of entry agreement with Renee D. and Deborah M. Holsapple. This agreement is for temporary right-of-way on approximately 0.16 acres needed for replacement of J15 Bridge on 260th Street. Entertain motions, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve this agreement for temporary right-of-way construction and damages on approximately 0.16 acres needed for the replacement of Bridge J15 on 260th Street in the amount of $200. This agreement is for the project of whatever that is there. And,
Okay.
And I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve this agreement for temporary right-of-way. Any further discussion or comments? No. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Patton,
yes.
Slosik,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Item 21,
I'm going to take a recess.
not a problem.
2 minutes.
We'll take a short break here. Item number 21 on our agenda this morning is another temporary road agreement and right of entry for J15 Bridge Replacement Project. Discussion and possible action to approve right of entry agreement with Larry A. and Joynell E. Raymond. This agreement is for a temporary right of way on approximately 0.07 acres needed for the replacement of Bridge J15 on 260th Street. Entertain motions on this item, please.
I would make a motion to approve this agreement for temporary right-of-way construction and damages on approximately 0.07 acres needed for the replacement of Bridge J15 on 260th Street in the amount of $200. This agreement is for this project, and I'm not going to say all that again, so.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agreement for temporary right-of-way agreement between Larry A. and Joynell Raymond for $200. Any further discussion?
No.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Item number 22 on our agenda this morning, submitted to the local authority, which is a Class C liquor license, commercial, application for license renewal for Class C liquor with outdoor service, Sunday sales and catering privileges from the Harvester Jensen Golf Course, LC 833 Foster Drive, Rhodes, Iowa. The current license number is LC 0040617, expires January 31st, 2021. The renewed license will be for a period of February 1st, 2021 to January 31st, 2022. Entertain motions on this renewal, please.
Mr. Chairman.
Nope.
I-
Steve's got it.
Steve's got it. Go ahead.
Make a motion to approve the renewal of the Harvester Jensen Golf LC Class C liquor license for the period of February 1, 2021, January 31, 2022.
And I will second that. We have a motion and a second to approve the renewal of the Harvester Jensen LC Class C liquor license for a period of February 1st, 2021 to January 31st, 2022. Discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Item 23 on our agenda this morning, submitted to the local authority, Class C beer permit, BC, with Sunday sales privileges. Class E liquor license, application for renewal of license 1 year for Class C beer permit with Sunday sales privileges, number BC 0027644, and Class E liquor license number LE 0001781 for Mandawas Travel Center, 1659D Marshalltown Boulevard, Melbourne, Iowa. The renewal license will expire March 15th, 2022 and March 7th, 2022 respectively. I'll entertain motions on the renewal.
I'd make a motion to approve the renewal of Mandawas Travel Center beer permit number BC 0027644 and liquor license number LE 0001781. The renewed licenses will expire March 15th, 2022 and March 7th, 2022 respectively.
And I will second that. We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the liquor license BC 0027644 and LE 0011781. Further discussion? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes, motion carries. Item 24 this morning, Buildings and Grounds Department, discussion and possible action to approve the carpentry work on the dome skirt of the tower for the courthouse by Renaissance Roofing of Belvedere, Illinois. Lucas, fill us in on this. And hopefully this is the last time we're going to find something that is decayed.
This is the last time we're going to find something that is decayed on the exterior of the building.
It's not quite what I wanted to hear.
It's close though. Honestly, we think the inside of the building's in good shape as far as masonry and tuck pointing. We did do some stuff in the tower on the inside, but this is the underneath the dome, the dome, after we set it, there is some fiberglass that hoops down and there's some decorative stuff underneath it. This is the wood framing underneath that to kind of hold that structure all in place. It's the fiberglass wasn't sealed as well as the copper that's going over it will be. So we had some water intrusion over the years and just some dry rot. So we propose getting that taken care of. I will say this $49,000 number doesn't include the markup for general contractor. The actual number we need to approve is $55,502.72. So we need to amend that number just a little bit. But this should be the last big thing we're looking at to come for approval for you guys.
Okay, keep in mind, when we run into work that is replacing stuff that is damaged and decayed, that was not caused by the derecho or the tornado, this is on our dime, not the insurance company's dime.
Yes. And I will say this number is about half what I expected it to be. So that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, he was doing a big happy dance when he got that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That wasn't just for us then.
No, he thought it'd be a 6-digit number, so he was very happy.
Okay. I'm going to read this slightly different. I'll take a motion in a second to approve the carpentry work, but we're going to correct the dollar amount to $55,502.72 to include the markup.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the carpentry work on the dome skirt of the tower for the courthouse by Resonance. My tongue isn't working today. Roofing of Belvedere, Illinois. Work estimate of $55,520. How?
502.
502. I wrote it wrong.
0.72.
502.72.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? There being none, roll call vote, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. All right. On to item number 25. This is our fiscal year 2021 budget review. Mary.
All right. Valuations increased countywide 31 million. Rural was up 20 million. And debt service is up 38 million. So the difference between debt and countywide is a reduction due to TIF, which is about 27 million.
And was the reduction due to TIF on the city's
I didn't look at it.
portion?
It's on the information that Whitney sent out.
Okay. For some reason, I thought we were at 27 million and you're at
I said 27.
You had 27.
27 million. Okay.
Yeah, she did.
So if we are looking ahead to the 22 budget, the countywide levy rate for the current year is $9.32 about. That'll generate approximately 14.8 million.
How much was that again?
14.8. I had thought you would be adding debt service to the fiscal year 22 budget. I don't know about that now after listening to the rest of the meeting, but if we do that, it needs to be certified by April 1st in order to be included in the 22 budget. So using the information that Jarrett had obtained, the minimum debt service amount, which was the rated schedule, would require about 34 cents of levy. That's the minimum. Using the same total levy rate as the current year, in 22, we would generate about 15 million or 266,000 more than the current year. So this is a very preliminary estimate. It uses a 3.5 general basic levy rate That raises an additional $108,000 over the current year. A reduction in the general supplemental levy rate by $134,000. And then I'm using 29 cents for the mental health and disability services levy. That is about $459,000 less than the current year. This is using the $14.75 per capita levy.
And
that the
did
CICS
they
region-
vote on it finally?
Yeah. As
So
far
they-
as
they did set it.
CICS, yeah.
And what did they decide?
The 1475, is that what it is?
Okay. All right. So next year, we would be looking at a sharp increase in that, correct? They were talking about going up to 30,
Yeah,
more than doubling.
that's a possibility. And it depends on the legislation. If we've been trying to get the legislators to give us some more time in years to lower our fund. And if we can do that, then we can use our fund, out in those years. So we'll see how that turns out.
Okay.
We're gonna have our work cut out for us in twisting the arms of our legislators.
Yeah, and they don't want to hear that one, and they don't want to hear when we say we only want supervisors to vote. And we got to work on that one too.
Well, when you and I have gone down and testified, they've been pretty receptive to what we've had to say.
Yeah,
And I would imagine we're probably heading down to Des Moines again.
probably. Yeah.
So if this legislation did pass and we were able to keep the levy rate a little bit more steady, that would require an additional 12 cents of levy this year.
In this year. So everything you're doing, we're currently at 932. With what you've listed here, what's it gonna come out to?
The total raised,
The total levy?
932, I kept them the same, just as a reference point.
Okay.
Rural services stayed the same, $3.31, and would raise $71,000 more. That's a 2.3% increase over the current year. So with the requirements of last year's legislation, Senate File 634, we are required to have an additional public notice, hearing, and resolution approving the maximum tax dollars. If we were to proceed using these estimates, general services percentage would decrease by 0.24%. And rural services would increase by 2.34%. So that's what it would look like on that public notice. If we continued with those dollars, the fund balances, we started the current year with 15.2 million. General basic, about 6.4 million, general supplemental, 2.5 million, and rural services, 948,000. Fiscal year 21 is estimated to end at 13.7 million, with general basic being reduced to 3.8 million, general supplemental going down $1 million to 1.5, and rural services staying about the same. The current year will end with most funds meeting or exceeding the target balance of 25% of expenditures. Fiscal year 22 is estimated to end at 9.5 million, with general basic and supplemental staying flat. Oh, excuse me. General basic and rural services staying flat, And general supplemental will decrease to only $500,000, which is an 11% ending fund balance.
Okay, so we're looking at going from 15.2 in 22. Currently, we're at $15.2 million fund balance, down to 11 million,
Down to 9.5,
9.5.
which is the plan to pay for the courthouse.
Mhm.
And the funds seem to be in the right place, except for general service or general supplemental.
Which we're very strong on.
Strong. Which will someday have to fund our health plan if those costs go back up.
Right.
We've been levying less and spending more out of general supplemental for several years now, and we can't continue to reduce it by $1 million every year. So these revenues are very rough estimates. We had our last meeting, 2 business days ago. So I have not had much time to put this together. I don't believe all the CARES money's been budgeted in the current year. So there's that. A majority of it has, but not all of it. The secondary road transfer of 2.9 million was requested. I think the maximum might be closer to 2.7 using the current valuation and levy rates.
Okay, and that's continuing, keeping our transfers from rural services to the engineer at the maximum.
Yep. So if you would reduce the levy rate, then your transfers would be reduced. These projections assume the buildings and grounds 5-year plan beginning in 22 with $400,000 in expenditures. I think those were budgeted.
And that was for the rooftop
Windows.
heating and cooling or windows?
Windows.
Okay, do we need to move that out considering we're looking at a $1.3 million reduction in our revenues from the sheriff? And move that out another couple of years?
This is windows for the courthouse or for the
No,
jail?
for the
Jail.
jail
The
facility.
sheriff's
Yeah,
office,
okay.
the administration building.
Yeah.
And were these expenditures budgeted in general basic or capital projects?
I think we did capital.
Mostly capital
Capital
with
projects.
with an option to pull into general basic out
Okay.
of my actual budget if needed.
Okay. I mean, those 2 funds are okay. Also out of the general fund is the 4 patrol vehicles, 20 patrol cameras and accessories at $10,000. The used search and rescue boat at $8,000 and scheduling software for the sheriff's office at $4,500. Secondary road new equipment at $800,000. Attorney software expense was new out of Jennifer's budget of $13,000. That's $1,200 more than the previous software.
And we just gave that a line item. Did we leave it in Jennifer's or did we move it over to IT?
It was in
Jennifer's.
Okay.
Did you want a 13,000 less $1,200 reduction somewhere else in our budget? Or that's just a question for another day. This is currently projecting no additional funds from state or federal sources for additional public health costs.
Okay.
Pat was thinking she may have 40-hour-a-week work for the call-in RNs coming up. There's,
She's gotten a lot of funding already that's helped her budget.
mhm.
And the RNs is to do inoculations.
So just to let you know that that's out there. She will let us know as soon as she hears anything.
And we don't
You
know
know.
if we're going to get assistance or if we're going to have to fund it.
Correct. We can certainly put it in the expenditures.
To be prudent at this time, if we don't know if we're going to get the assistance, but we are going to have to do it, we're going to have to put in a line item to fund it. We
Okay.
can always remove it later when we do our finalization. And you're not looking for total answers today until we get all our wrap up on the additional requests that everybody has made in their individual budget meetings. You don't want that today.
Not necessarily prepared to give it, no.
Okay.
You can take some time and.
I'd like to
absorb
take
it
some
and-
more time because the figures that you were working on for the two projections on the sheriff being down as much as he is in revenues as opposed to the people that he has in open positions and not replacing them, if those are going to offset each other,
Okay.
I would be much more hesitant not to make some cuts that we're going to have to make if that works out. And if it doesn't work out, we're probably going to have to pull his vehicles for next year and his equipment purchases because of his reductions in revenues. I know Nan was checking into whether the current vehicles could be, no?
I wasn't able, I
All right.
got one.
Bill was working on it a little
Okay.
bit.
As far as I could come up with, it doesn't look like we can cancel them.
Okay,
Now, the car for sure, the pickups, but they said probably not.
okay.
And I was talking to a dealer about it. We got to perhaps go further than a dealer, Dave.
I'd like to. I mean, when we're faced with that much budget shortfall in revenue, we do need to make some reductions in expenditures.
I needed some numbers to do that,
Okay.
and I didn't have them.
As long as we don't need to make those decisions today, let's go forth and get these numbers a little bit more concrete and think where we're going to be.
All right. So this is also assuming that the salary increases as presented at the individual meetings will be given. Libraries at the
Same.
same fare with the additional $5,000 again this year.
So far.
So far.
Yep.
Yep. Medic and Region 6 Housing Trust Fund at 90,000.
Yes.
There was nothing in the budget for YSS. Is that an oversight?
We should have received David Hicks's request, and that's typically for $11,000 annually.
We got it, yeah, his was the first one.
Okay.
It may have been missed in the,
All right.
okay,
We need to include that.
okay.
And he didn't change, I didn't change his
I don't
amount.
think
It was
so.
11,000.
No, same thing.
And that's what we've done year after year.
Yeah,
And I have spoken to David numerous times that he has to be careful in showing where he spends that $11,000. So it's not in areas of mental health.
uh-huh.
And he's had no problem as far as documenting that.
And then I believe there was a request from Agency on Aging or something.
Yes, that was out of county, and I think we said no on that. Was that correct?
Yes.
And have
Yeah, I thought we just kind of ignored it.
Well, when they make a request, we do have to formally say no. Yeah, that's a no.
you know?
Yep.
Okay. You'll be sure to let them know.
We do have the one other thing
Yes.
that we have not done, and I want to wait until we're done, and that is the request from the Chamber of Commerce for the funding on their incentive program. We haven't got all the answers yet that we requested from them on if the school system and the community college was going to be able to participate. I know the school system, in talking to Theron Schutte, said that they cannot legally participate. I haven't heard anything back from Joe Carter on the community college.
I'm going to assume it's the same.
Probably. Keep in mind, under that incentive program, there is an existing program to incentivize new construction of residential homes within Marshalltown, Iowa, of 3-year 100% tax abatement. And the 3-year 100% tax abatement actually, under this proposal that's coming from the Chamber's Housing Group, if somebody was to accept the money up front, they will not qualify for the 3 years tax abatement. The 3-year tax abatement, in doing the math from what Jarrett provided us at $189,000 home, they actually would get an additional $1,700 additional incentive for going the 3 years 100% rather than taking the $10,000 up front. So if we do deny that, there's still a very nice incentive program in place if they don't get this.
Yeah.
And that was the difference between 3-year tax abatement on a $189,000 house. If they build one that's a quarter of a million, that disparity and that increment grows to the point where, you know, for the person that's doing the home, in my particular opinion, it wouldn't be a prudent decision to take the lower amount.
And if we do decide to participate in this project, it's almost a wash, according to my numbers, what we gain back on the tax side.
The county actually comes out in negative numbers. The school system, because they do not participate, and the community college are the ones that really come out smelling like a rose, because under the current proposal, or under the current things that are in, is a 3-year tax abatement. So none of the taxing bodies receive those dollars. Under the Chamber's proposal, it would be an incentive program with no tax abatement. So that incentive program would be funded by the city and the county, but not the school system or the community college. So they would go from not qualifying for that abatement to paying the property tax, which would allow the community college and the city, or the community college and the community school system, to draw from those funds. Yes. As opposed to if it was the tax abatement, they would get nothing. So when you put the numbers to it, the county is the one that really supplements the payment of it.
We haven't decided yet.
We have not decided on that.
Participation in that's going to be.
Quite frankly, you know, these are just some decisions we're going to have coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to wait until we get our final numbers from Mary and get closer to it?
Yeah.
Do you want some scenarios prepared with larger levy rates, larger increases? Or what are we doing on, you know, as soon as you know something on bonding for the capital loan notes?
We'll have to it's going to be as soon as we know.
That's one reason to jump on it sooner.
Yeah.
So in 2 weeks, I'll propose some of those Senate File 634 resolution.
Okay.
For you, I guess, and we'll see from there.
Let's see where we're at and run 2 scenarios, one with the bonding and one without.
Without any bonding?
Well, not in succeeding years, but not necessarily right now. No, we need to add it.
We need it for FY '22.
Yeah, we need it.
Yeah.
There's 25% of the contract that is due at the
In
end.
22. Okay.
At least.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe
as
a
far as
little
I
bit
can
more.
see.
Yeah,
Let's-
we grabbed numbers here real quick and
Let's make our estimate a little high on what we might need. we can always spend less.
Yes.
But now this was using the minimum, this was using the best rate that was available. So if you're going,
If he's going local, you got to go local banks.
Yeah.
You use
Gotta
the
go to the
cheapest
local
local
bank.
bank.
Yeah, the 1.02%.
and then you would not pursue or you may not pursue the borrow as you go plan.
Depends what they come back with for rates.
But if they are at
Correct.
2,
And Jarrett's gonna look into
Do some
that.
research on
Yeah.
it, so.
because I would be hesitant to say that we would be able to pay it off quickly. Because we have money going out for emergency management, money going out for mental health services that we really don't have any control over. So.
Okay. Put the proposals together and let's see where we're at.
Okay.
We can go from there.
Yep.
Anything else? Yes, no? Okay. We're going to move on to item number 26, which is public forum. This is a time set aside for the public to make comments on topics of county business other than those listed on this agenda. No action will be taken on any of these topics brought up in public forum.
Mr. Chair, Sheriff Hoffman.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
In regard to the budget considerations and the patrol vehicles, I'd strongly urge consideration to fund those vehicles in particular for our first responders that are responding to our citizens in emergency situations. We already have a rotation schedule that puts these vehicles over 100,000 miles as it is, between the increased repair costs and the potential danger for mechanical failure for my deputies. That's just an unacceptable risk. I would also like to characterize the prior budget management over the 2 previous fiscal years. That amount of revenue shortfall, which frankly, I want to characterize as a success for the risk management by our jail administration, has been achieved. In fiscal year 19, we overachieved our revenue estimates by $273,000. As I mentioned before, in this last fiscal, when the onset of the pandemic, we reined in our spending, and I turned in $770,000. I have earned and returned $1 million to the county coffers in an effort to make responsible decisions and still provide the best possible services for our constituents and the safety of my deputies. And so I would also like to remind people that, there were some efforts from other county administration to affect jail operations, to even affect things such as remote visits. So I would hope that the board would recognize the successes today here on January 19th, 2021, that we still have not had a positive COVID inmate in our facility, that we can celebrate that success and not be on the contrary where we've placed our employees and prisoners at risk for the sake of generating a dollar. And I've mentioned before, and my predecessor, former Sheriff Camachis, also warned previous boards that this mission, the jail and sheriff operations, need funded. And regardless of the revenue out of the jail, we did not build a jail to create revenue. And I hope that your consideration is to help fund these priorities and keep our people safe.
Any other comments? No? Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Being none, we're going to move on to item number 27. This is adjournment. The next regular session is February 2nd, 2021 at 9:05 a.m. All business to be acted upon at that session should be submitted to the County Auditor Recorder's Office or the Board of Supervisors Office by Wednesday, January 27th, 2021 at 12 p.m. There being no further business to come before the board, this meeting is adjourned.